What if I told you that behind every World Cup final, every roar, every tear, every trophy lifted, there is a darker story the cameras were never meant to show you? 90 years, 22 tournaments, billions of people watching. But here's what nobody tells you. The World Cup has never just been about football. It's been used by dictators to hide murder, by governments to silence revolution, by billionaires to build fortunes on the backs of men who died nameless in the desert heat. And yet, somehow, inside all of that darkness, football keeps producing moments of pure, inexplicable beauty. Today, we're going inside every World Cup. Not the goals, not the trophies, the real story. The one that happened in the shadows. Stay with me, because once you see this, you will never watch a World Cup the same way again. Here's something that sounds impossible. The very first World Cup was held in a stadium that wasn't even finished when the tournament started. The year is 1930. The world is in depression. Hitler is rising. Factories are cold, and a tiny country of 3 million people raises its hand and says, "We will host the World Cup." That country? Uruguay. 4 European teams made the crossing by ship, 2 weeks at sea, training on the deck, losing balls overboard into the Atlantic. One Romanian player leaned over the railing mid-ocean and said, "If our king hadn't personally ordered me, I would never have come." Even then, some men understood. Football is not just a sport, it is politics. The first goal in World Cup history was scored by a 22-year-old French mechanic named Lucien Laurent. Years later, just before his death, he said, "None of us realized we were making history. We thought it was just another match." That is always how history works. Ordinary in the moment, extraordinary in the echo. The final, Uruguay versus Argentina, 2 countries separated by 1 river. Argentina led at halftime. Then the match ball was changed to Uruguay's ball, and somehow fate changed with it. Uruguay scored 4. Final score, 4-2. In Montevideo, a public holiday was declared. In Buenos Aires, the Uruguayan embassy was stoned. The 2 countries severed diplomatic relations for 3 days over a round ball. But wait, 1934 is where things get truly disturbing. What if a government used the World Cup as a weapon of propaganda? They didn't have to imagine it. It already happened. Italy, 1934. Benito Mussolini had been in power for 12 years. He understood the stadium the way a preacher understands a pulpit. He called it a church without a god and placed himself on the throne. Tournament tickets carried fascist symbols. A poster declared, "Football is the laboratory of Italian manhood." The night before the semifinal, referee Ivan Eklund was seen having dinner with Mussolini. The next day, he refereed. 2 Austrian goals were disallowed. Italy won. After the final whistle, Eklund returned to Mussolini's box, shook his hand, and smiled. That smile has lived in history ever since. Before the final, a telegram reportedly arrived in Italy's dressing room. Just 2 words: "Vincere o morire," win or die. But here's the interesting part. The real hero of 1938 wasn't on the pitch at all. His name was Matthias Sindelar, called the Mozart of football. When Hitler absorbed Austria into Germany, Sindelar refused to wear the Nazi jersey. He said his knees were bad. He was too old. Everyone knew it was a lie. In January 1939, He was found dead in his Vienna flat. Official verdict: faulty heater. Accident. 15,000 people walked silently behind his coffin through a city under Nazi occupation. No slogans, no loudspeakers, only flowers and silence and grief. Football's first martyr, and barely anyone today knows his name.